Mandy Flynn here. I'd like to show you how to make a smudge stick for protection. So today we've been out foraging and we were lucky enough to find some gorgeous mugwort. It's still very young at the moment, it hasn't gone to flower or seed, which is just how I prefer it. It's lovely. Some people, it's a wonderful herb, some people can use this for teas or a smoking blend, and I like to make smudge sticks out of them. Also, lucky enough to find some red valerian. Both of these plants have properties for protection, so I'm going to be using them both in the one smudge stick today, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So to start with, you need to gather a good base to make your smudge stick with, and predominantly I want ours to be made of mugwort. So if you gather enough stems together so that if you squeeze it really hard you can make a good fist there around the bunch of herbs that you're going to use. I want to incorporate some valerian into it, so I've still got a bit of space here. If you push all the ends so that they're all together at one point, we're going to trim it later, so don't worry about it if it doesn't look neat. Take off any straggly dead bits of leaf that you don't really want in there, because they won't dry out very nice. Okay, I'm going to pick one of the valerians here. You don't want to put the flower too far down the stem, so you want a little bit of stem there. I'm going to cut that, and that's going to be joined there at the bottom. Next you want a long length of string, or in our case I'm using a really lovely thick cotton that's used for lace making and crochet. And if you take the length of it, don't cut it yet, pass it underneath your bunch about an inch away from the end, and then tie it as tight as you can. You can get someone to help you if you wish to hold the knot down. And tie it, so that's not going anywhere. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to wind this cotton all the way up the length to the very tip. It's easier to do it this way than tie off with two lengths and wrap them around. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it round in a clockwise motion all the way up the stem, and then when we reach the end we're going to bring it back round anti-clockwise all the way back down. So it's going to look like the threads are crossing over. So I'm going to start now. It's a bit fiddly in the beginning, holding the cotton as tight as possible. Make sure it doesn't fall off my lap. I'm going to slowly wind up the bunch, really pull it tight. You can move your left hand, or if you're right-handed, the other way around slowly as you do it. It will get easier once you get nearer to the end. It's a bit of very nice leafage there, so remove that as you go along if you find any. Pull in that tight. You're going to squash your flowers, I'm afraid. You can try and make it look as pretty as you can, but it's about the correspondences that they hold rather than how pretty it is. So as you can see, slowly working our way up there. Okay, now as you come to this point, we're almost at the end of that flower, so we're going to take another piece, and again leave about an inch from the end of the stem. Don't throw those stems away, you can dry those out and use them for any spells that you have. And place that stem just inside, as you can see, pushing that down. Okay, pick up the thread again, pull it tight, and start weaving again all the way up. Don't pull it so tight so that your string breaks, which some people do when they're first new at doing this. A lot of our students have had that problem. Winding it round, still going in the clockwise direction. So it's looking pretty as well. Take another flower. Poke it just behind there. And carry on, so on and so forth. And you will see there are lots of leaves sticking out. That's okay, we can try and catch them and wrap them in on the way back round. Or the way back down, I should say. You can see I'm really pulling as hard as I can. Got room for more flowers. This one, I think. Pop that in. Just there. Pick up your yarn again, pull it tight as you can. Fiddly. It's possible to get someone to help you to do this, but really with a little bit of practice it is quite easy for you to do on your own. Now as you get towards the end you can feel your wand flexing a little bit, so I'm just going to use the table for support here. Still keep winding all the way up. You need it all to be bound to the top, otherwise once it dries and you light it, it's going to catch on fire and frazzle because too much air will get through it, around it. So you can see I'm having trouble here at the end. It starts going very fiddly. We can trim that off later if we want to, but really as long as we get that quite neat, it should be fine. I'm going to try actually on this one. I'm working anti-clockwise now. We're going back down the stem. I'm going to just this top bit because it's quite wobbly. I'm going to roll it towards me, but can you see how I'm holding that thread in a downward motion? Slowly winding that bit round. There, you can see how they're crisscrossing now. So it's quite firm enough for me to hold up. So we'll continue wrapping that round, going back down the stem. I'm keeping each wrap about an inch apart. So you don't want it to be made up of so much cotton that that's all you're burning and you'll get a smell of cotton. I'm back to spinning again. Find the way that feels comfortable for you. I'm pulling it really tight at the same time. It's not going to cut through the plant material. Can you see how I'm slowly catching all the other leaves that are sticking out? Still managing to keep about an inch apart, spiral all the way down. It's really therapeutic. I'm having lots of fun, and I'm sure you will too. The flowers are getting squashed. It's a shame. But magic is not about being tidy and perfect and manufactured. I love these things, smudge sticks, all sorts of things that we make to look handmade. That's where the magic is. You're putting your energy into your own smudge sticks, and while you're doing it you can think about the intent of what you would like your smudge stick to represent. So in this case it's protection. Okay, so one more little wind and you will see we've come to the end and we meet the tail end of the knot that we started with. Okay, so at this point we can cut this thread, find your tail end of the knot you made right at the beginning. I'm going to tie that as tight as possible again. Another knot. I'm resting my little finger on there just to try and keep it from slipping. Want it nice and tight. And there you are. I'm I'm taking both ends together there actually at the end, and you can make another knot. Fiddly. Oops. There. I think I've done that right. Make another knot there so that we've got a loop. If you can see, a loop there to hang it up with. And that's it. I mean, you could, for example, chop off some loose bits of leaves if they're sticking out too much. So you don't want it to be like a highly flammable thing once you start burning it. Just to tidy it up a bit. I think it looks cute. I'm going to chop off that end bit, I think. Not with those scissors. With these scissors. Nice and sharp. Looks like it's had a haircut. And there you have it. An absolute huge smudge wand. Once it's dried, you can chop it into sections. You may need to tie off little bands every so often in case it does all come together, come undone. Once it dries, you'll find that all of your herb material there tends to stick together, it binds together and dries lovely. You want to hang this either upside down or somewhere flat, where you have a very gentle heat. Don't put it on direct heat like a radiator, for example, because sometimes the leaves will scorch and go black. A nice gentle heat out of direct sunlight, maybe 4 weeks. Depending on how warm it is, you might get a complete dryness within a couple of weeks, but a good 4 weeks and it will be ready to use. All you have to do is light your end, make sure it's well lit, blow it out, and then use the smolder to cleanse your space. Hope you've enjoyed our video today. Until next time.